Hey, hey. Wow. We already have people on here. I think that's so cool. Jeannie, hi, Jeannie in PA, Tarla, in Manitoba. I gotta do the whole back and forth thing to read. Brenna, good morning. Jessica, hello everyone. Good morning. And it's I don't know what it is here yet. It's not quite good evening, but it's late afternoon. So it's I want to put a word together, but it's been a good day today. Sunny greetings from stormy Florida. Interesting. I was going to ask you guys. Good morning. Oh, Michelle, I was reading your emails just right before I got on here, so I'm looking forward to watching those YouTube videos. So thanks for sending me. I love the story already, so I can't wait to hear it. And Anne Murray, growing up, my grandmother, what I was actually Patsy Cline was her favorite artist. I think that's how I remember it. But I remember always hearing Anne Murray at my grandmother's house too. So when you said something about Anne Murray in your email, I kind of giggled because I was like so overwhelmed with nostalgia for Anne Murray, and I haven't listened to her in a long time. So I look forward to doing that. And Lisa got on and said, "Hola, team." That is kind of right in alignment with our message for today. So I'm just going to jump in because it's perfect timing, of course. So thanks, Lisa, for saying "Hola" to our team because I quite frankly, I didn't send out an email today or really put anything together for this because I didn't get anything um, real new as far as um, what to share because it's really important. I kept getting throughout the day, just getting more and more, and I keep looking outside. Like I swear to gosh, it's just so. Uh, it's been so interesting watching the skies here, and especially in these last 2 days. But I think throughout the day, I just kept getting confirmations of how important it is for us to go even deeper into the message from yesterday, which is um, we were at like the final nugget or the final line before stepping over the critical mass line of creating the a flash of insight, a flash of higher consciousness that hits every single human at the same time. Whatever that looks like, we don't know, but in our community, in our organization that we are operating in, we know that this time is to or we have been preparing up until this time to pull in these higher frequencies. We knew that there's a flash of some sort because it has been predicted. It has for many for millennia. And we also see the evidence of this happening with our tools, with our modern day tools. We can see things happening on our sun. We can see things happening. We are now, it's so funny because there's a million images of the Schumann resonance going around now, and I haven't shared any of that simply because I don't have full trust in it, and I don't think it's anything manipulative or deceptive, but it's not showing anything close to what we're experiencing. I think even the Schumann, like not it. I think I do believe that the Schumann isn't showing the intensity of it can't because it can't. So, but anyway, people are sending around things on Instagram, and it shows a cross, and it shows there was a sword. I saw, Schumann like, look, there's the cross and the sword and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm looking outside my window and I'm seeing all of that. I don't need technology now because I can feel it. And I think we in this community, like what we're talking about here, we are getting to the point where we are not needing as much evidence or there's a word I want, but we're not needing to go on social media now as much to find information. I think there's that point where we came to where it was like I just want to confirm what I'm feeling because like I think I'm figuring this energy thing out, and as we figure it out, then we get confirmations, and we're moving into a stage now where in our organization, and I keep using that word because we are the ones that are organizing this, and pulling in the magnetics of this for the solar flash. And I don't want to, like, for some people that are coming in here, maybe just starting to have this conversation or just kind of curious, they're going to hear that and be like, what are these people talking about on here, saying that they can, they can create the solar flash. But we know that's part of what the message is for today. I want to really go back to, the basics. It's not really the basics for me, but the basics of quantum physics and quantum mechanics, because that is how we are doing this. And we are the organization. We have an organization that we know of a globalist society that is kind of captured and taken hostage this entire globe, right? And like over here is this organization that's not as, is not as bold, not as loud, not as, obnoxious, doing work to actually deliver the other world, right? We've got this world that's been held hostage, and then we have this world that's being created by an organization that is supported by otherworldly beings, as well as the beings here on our planet. And we are a smaller minority, yes, but I don't really, actually, that doesn't feel truthful. I don't know if that's truthful, but we are more of a silent minority. Let's just put it that way. And we've just been doing this work. We haven't known right away, like we didn't know for a long time that we were part of an organization, and this organization is the ones that just said, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to work for, when I say myself, work for the light. I'm going to do the work for the bringing out the light in me, so I don't live in the darkness of me. And the more we've worked for our own light, to find our own light. We've all kind of assembled in these different communities all around, and there's different communities like ours, and there's ones that are huge and there's ones that are smaller, and then but it doesn't matter. We're all working for the same thing. We are working for the light, which is like, living in the light, living in the light of peace, in the light of love, in the light of, like, just joy, and being able just to sit and create. Like, my husband's sitting over there doing his art again, and like that is what we are here to create, and that's for ourselves. But now we're like, this whole planet needs to live like this, because this one over here is like, it's taking us down. It's taking the whole planet down. So we have now kind of risen up into a collective organization, and all of these beautiful communities that have been doing their work individually and in communal, like whether they're spiritual centers, whether, it's whatever, like, yoga communities. And I don't want it to be just like about, wellness communities, but there are so many communities now. There are people who um, are in different, just like minds, who are just ready for peace. So this isn't always just a spiritual thing, but at this point, we are so close to having enough of our humanity. And it isn't like half of humanity, like 4.4 billion, whatever it is. It is 51% of consciousness. Remember that consciousness in, oh, I don't have my cards next to me. Consciousness in those higher levels of emotional well-being, those higher levels of the life expanding emotions like courage and willingness and joy and peace and all of those. Anyone operating at that level takes precedence, kind of owns the energy of over 275,000 people who are living down in the lower realms of grief and shame and fear. Basically, let's just call it fear. So we are not looking for the 50% mark of the population. We are looking at 51% of the of consciousness of humanity. So it's not that many people, but what we do need is all of these people all at the same time, thinking, feeling, projecting peace, being peace. You can't project it unless you are it, right? You can be like, oh, I'm peaceful, but like, you know, you can have some frenetic energy. People are like, that doesn't feel very peaceful. Or you can be at peace, and then you project that peace in truthful projections. And every time you project it when you're walking or at the supermarket, you're projecting that good shit all over everybody, right? And then people are bringing it, like consciously bringing in the idea of peace and for everyone, and for whatever, like whatever we're seeing on the screens. If you're still watching the news and still tuning into that world, I'm pretty sure I know what you're seeing. I've tuned out of it, because as long as you tune into one thing on it, it is sucking you back. And for now, if you could just turn it all off and even if it's like your ego wants to say we're in a la la land of like peace, like there's stuff going on, be in la la land for right now, so that we can invite this consciousness in. And this consciousness comes in through source is the galactic central sun that is flowing through our sun, flooding through this planet, flooding down into, I don't know if you guys can see this, I don't know if I can get it, but like, oh, I mean, it's hard to see, but you can see like the sunbeams just coming down. It's flooding down as we speak. And these floods of light have these light packets. We have done all of this. We have crossed all of these dots and crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's when we're talking about what this light is. But here's one thing I want to remind you. Let me go to my notes real quick. So remember that quantum, so we're talking about critical mass, right? Critical mass is quantum mechanics, like I am no expert on this. I know just enough about this conversation to be dangerous. And yet, if science is what you're needing, here's some basic science, and you can go down that rabbit hole to understand what we're trying to do here. And what we're trying to do here is just, this organization needs to come together in a unified way in this, like right now, in order to pull in this great flash, which then flashes insight, flashes truth, and flashes honesty, flashes open the darkness, so everyone who's in the darkness can see what it is they need healed, so they can ascend into a higher existence. And we do that through consciousness first, and we're starting to see it happen. We are seeing it happen. I am seeing it happen out in nature. I can see it, right? We can see it on the Schumann resonance. Something is happening, and crosses are appearing, and swords are appearing. Like the symbols are everywhere. But if you also go like out of technology and get in nature, nature is showing you that this flash is close. It is like right here. I could see beams of it coming down, like not quite hitting the earth yesterday. And I talked about that yesterday. I had pictures on Instagram that I talked about it on. So there is this consciousness. It's growing. And here's how I want to kind of explain it. This is what the image that came. And if this is a spoiler alert and you haven't seen this movie, it's like 20 something years. It's like ridiculously old. I couldn't believe how old it was. So if you haven't seen it, you've missed out on 20 years of pure joy of Christmas season. But the movie Elf, towards the end, it's not, whatever, but a lot of movies are like this. The only way that Santa's sleigh would work is if the global people, the belief in Christmas was all at the same time, right? All happen at the same time. And then that's what fueled Santa's sleigh. And at the end, like people were lost their belief, and it's just Christmas. And like all of a sudden everybody started to sing Christmas carols together, and everyone's like, the nostalgia came back and everyone got happy, and then Santa's sleigh could fly, right? That's and granted, like I get it, but still, that's kind of how consciousness works. When we all focus in on the same thing at the same time, what happens then is our organization of thought, right? When you organize your thought and your feelings to an intentional degree or an intentional intention, and then you have a community, you have people all doing the same thing, it rises in power, and it starts to organize. The electrons then start to organize. And when you have 51% of an electron at a certain frequency, it then takes over the rest of the 49%, and that electron comes up into that vibration. So if we are all becoming electromagnetic fields by thinking and feeling electric and the magnet, we are each in that feeling of peace and love, and we start like beaming that out. This sounds like such airy fairy stuff sometimes, but it's really not, because we have the science now that can show that when somebody intentionally sends something out, like we can see brain waves now happening. We know consciousness, we know quantum mechanics at this point. This is when we reach critical mass, when okay, I said the electron thing. The other thing too is, if you're still healing those timelines, keep doing those, keep doing that, because as you are, hold on, this is from all timelines and dimensions known and unknown. Yes. So as you are clearing timelines, you are like the electrons. I read a whole thing about that. The electrons also with old timelines or old lifetimes, those are also like working to come up into frequency. So everything that you do at this moment is only raising you up, and whatever that is, if we're all doing that, we're creating this massive electromagnetic field. I feel like I'm not talking about something that you don't already know, but I have to remind, like, not that I have to, but I felt really, really called to remind you that we are not talking some spiritual stuff here. We are talking about quantum physics. This is where we create this flash and we start to move forward, because I know we hold the line. We're like, yeah, I'm going to have a really great meditation, I'm going to see peace, I'm going to send peace all over the world. And then we come out of meditation, we go back to our world, and the challenges start to come up and we drop down, right? So that's the holding the line is getting harder, because we're not seeing the impact of our intentions. And that is because we get ourselves here and then go back to the world and go mirror, and we come back down. So we're constantly coming up and going back down. But now's the time where we have to, like, holding the line is like even more, I want to say important, but it's something more than that. It's like it's essential right now, because we're holding the line here, and this is not the time where we can dip. This is where we hold the line so we can see what it is that we are creating, which is the solar flash. Because that's been the thing that's been frustrating people, right? It's like, when's the solar flash coming? When is this thing? And like, yes, we had to do a lot of work, but we are so close at this point. And I kind of just want to see what it is. Like, let's get on with it, not because I'm impatient or I'm like waiting for something. I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, I'm at peace and I'm all right with that. So I can stay here for a while. But I know for many, holding the line is getting hard, because we want to see. So let's just see it. So just stay in it longer, as long as you can. When you go back into your world, just be at peace without whatever the world has in front of you, even if it's not ideal, because only that holding the line of that frequency is going to be the thing that puts us all at the critical mass point at the same time, so that we can actually create something in physical reality, because it's already starting to happen. So we just need to hold it for, I said 24 hours yesterday, let's do 24 hours more. We can do that, right? And we won't, I don't know how long we're going to have to do this, but the longer that we kind of keep dipping up and down, the longer it's going to take. So it's like, now's the time. Just hold it. That's the message I keep getting. It's really, really critical. And I see so much in that sky. Like, I know it's something's really close. So I'm pretty sure that we can create it if you just keep going. Okay. Just keep holding the peace. Just keep holding the peace. I'm gonna see what you guys are saying. Oh, John Denver, Annie's song. I love John Denver's Country Roads. Morning from frigid blowing snowstorm in Colorado again. Interesting. That's what I wanted to say. I was curious if you guys have a lot of clouds, wherever you are. So I see that there are snowstorms in Colorado. So I would say probably yes. Because we've had, like, I feel like the cloud cover, not that I feel, but I know for sure that that it has been said that when as we get closer to the flash, that we will have protection, so we're not like fried. And I the protection, I'm wondering and putting together if it's the clouds to kind of give us a little bit of a filter, so we're not getting the full impact of these rays, because it's been for a good week now. It's been cloudy here, but the sun pops in and out all day long. So I was wondering if it's, and I know in like Ukraine, like everything up there is pretty cloudy, so that they're protected. Just curious with where you are. Chilly AF here in Calgary. Yeah, it got really cold here in this last week. But and I are like walking around here like we did in Ukraine, like all put together with our winter stuff, because none of our winter stuff. We don't have winter stuff, so like we looked like a joke the whole time. Sun just parted the clouds and shining in full on bright just for the tune in. Yay! We shall see. I feel like we're already creating sunshine coming through, coming through. But I mean, I'm not. I just think that this is like really important. That's all I just keep getting. Sacred geometry, love the flower of life. We are a grid of life and light for the whole earth. Yes, Christine, thank you for saying the flower of life, because I literally on Instagram I posted the this sun and this thing coming out. I was going to pull it up actually. Let me do it. And I tried this yesterday, and the Ankh, like the Ankh is, can you see that? Like, I didn't do anything. Now it's getting all big. I didn't do anything to this picture except for, obviously paste this on here. And I did zoom into it, but that Ankh is like, when I saw, sorry, as soon as it came up, I saw it in the sky. I was like, oh my God, there's an Ankh. And I was like, but does it look like an Ankh? And I take a picture, and I took it, and I was like, it does. And that's one of my favorite Egyptian symbols. Like, this is what was so I was so like literally was jumping up and down here yesterday, because the Ankh is one of my favorite symbols, and I've been on the lookout for one. Like, especially in this part of the world, I really want something from here, more so Egypt. Maybe, I don't know. I have to make my way down there, but I want an Ankh because it is like the key of life, and all of the ancient Egyptian things have, like, all of the gods have an Ankh. And then, it also means the breath of life too. And we talk about the holy breath. We talk about the holy breath on this daily tune in so many times, because it's such a beautiful part of who we are. And the holy breath comes from our I am presence. And when we breathe from that, we are breathing from God. We are breathing from that part of us that is the essence and the unique expression of God. And it takes one holy breath to push us into that critical mass. And so when I was like, we talk about the holy breath, and especially right now, and especially today and yesterday, and all of a sudden this Ankh comes into the sky, and I was like, oh my God, the gods are speaking. It was the coolest thing. But there's no denying that looked like that it looked like an Ankh, and I'm in the land of, Greece is literally right there. So, I'm in the land. I can feel the energy of the gods. I can see like Greek mythology in the sky in front of me every day. And I've been able to feel a lot, like, I feel this world that I live in, that's not, like the tangible physical world, but it has shifted in a way. And yesterday I felt it majorly shift. And then I saw that I felt the energetic shift, and it's not really, I mean, I shouldn't call it a shift, because it was not that, but it just a difference. It was like something really different. And then the message came through, and I was like, oh, the difference is, it's kind of like that urgency. It's not like frenetic urgency. It's kind of like and I've used this analogy before, like right before the astronauts get into space, it's like yeah, like the energy's building. And I think we're so close that if we keep tuned in to the feeling of peace and the intention of peace and being, we have to feel it though. It's great to have, oh, I want peace for everybody, but you're, running around after kids or something, then you're not feeling it. That's not the electromagnetic field that we need. That's why when you're running around, the kids just run around and be messy and just let everything go that feels like it should be worried about, and just be in the peace and the love and the joy of running around and being messy, whatever it is. If you're at a job that you don't like, just have a day where you have fun and be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have a good time at work today, and I'm not gonna like worry. And because that's like, we need the peace to go with the intentionality of that, and you bring that electromagnetic field into the world by breathing your holy breath. And every time you breathe the holy breath, you are adding to the matrix of the idea that you've already created. Every time you have an idea and you breathe it into life with your holy breath, it creates a matrix, and that matrix then goes to work to organize. And every time you bring your attention and your breath and your feelings to the idea, and you're fueling the idea, you're fueling that matrix, fueling the matrix, and the matrix is the web, right? And the web then joins with my web, and joins with Brenna's web, and joins with Tara's web, and Marie's and Dominique's, and we all, our matrices are coming together. So we've got to keep breathing our holy breath with the intention and the feeling of this feeling of peace from our I am presence. We have to keep doing that. And I'm going to, I know I sound like a broken record, but we are so close. And that thing, that urgency to get us over the tipping point, that's where we want to see. Because once we're over the tipping point, we can look over and be like, that's what it is, and we all want to see what this is. So just help me help you, you help me help you, and we help everybody help, and just stay in the frequency of this idea that we are pulling in the beautiful, great solar flash, so we can hit that tipping point of peace for all. I was ready for spring. Yes, Carly, yeah, more cold and snow for you. Yeah, I'm ready for spring too. I didn't realize how much my consciousness was responsible for it. That blows my mind. Yeah, everything. Everything, like everything, like when we just really start paying attention to what consciousness affects, it's everything. And it's one point of it, like for me was like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. And like now up to the point I'm like, ooh, what else do I want to create? Ooh, like I could just create that. And it's like, now it's just practice. Like but it's still like expanding, right? And then the more we expand, the more we understand, like the more we learn that consciousness does. So this is a never ending thing, until we, reach complete 12D back in, and we're absorbed back in, and we are it again. When I was basking with eyes closed in the sun yesterday, glitter particles started buzzing everywhere. Oh, that's pretty cool. It was wild. Interesting that they started buzzing. And Marie, in one of the pictures that I posted on Instagram too, I think it's the fourth one. I did like a 10 of them or something. Um, when I zoomed in on that picture, there were orbs all over the place. And when I had the what's the picture that kind of moved, the live picture, and when I tapped on it, like they were buzzing all around too. So that was really cool, and something you couldn't see with just looking at the picture. I was dismantling those things, looking at them, and I was going zooming in and zooming out, and there was one that had a ton of orbs. It was the coolest thing. Anyone else tasting salt in their tasting salt in the mouth? Interesting, kind of far out there, but I keep getting a random taste of salt in my mouth. Ah, I have not, but I'm wondering like what that means for you, Charla. If there was like an ancestor or some kind of memory of or a personal connection of some sort to salt, because that's what immediately came up to me as like what memory, or I don't know. I do know, but I'm wondering if that has any kind of personal connection to you, salt of any kind. Hello, love you all. Wishing us all so much strength to hold on to our divine self. Yes, yes. The butterfly effect. Yes, Christine, exactly. Brenda says, yes, I have feelings, the ups and downs. The separation of reality is literally palpable. It really is. It feels so weird, like just to think of things, just a month ago, or especially a year ago. We're coming up on the year anniversary of when we left, at the end of this month, when we left the US. And the fact that we've been out of the US for a year blows my mind. But it also, when I try to reconnect to myself this time last year, like I can't even, and it's not in a sad way. It's just like, oh, like I just have grown so much from that version of me that I kind of don't even want to go back to that version. So I guess that's good. That timeline has been closed. But yeah, it is really palpable. I think that's interesting. Jessica, cloud cover here. Snow in Colorado was almost otherworldly. The flakes were fluffy and just floating around like glitter. Oh, it was a super peaceful snow. Okay, clouds. So clouds in Virginia Beach. Northern Northern Michigan weather has been bipolar. Majestic clouds here in Vegas. Snowing and raining, and okay, so look at all the different places that are under cloud cover. And yes, like we can say logically it's winter and that's normal, but it's just really interesting to me. I'm just taking notes. Lots of clouds over the last days, but this morning blue skies. Okay, good. That was it's in Canada. I do my drive to work while listening. Just saw a license plate CME 650. Oh, CME is a coronal mass ejection. Oh, that's kind of cool. Man, I love stuff like that, Lisa. So let's pay attention. We get symbols in all the different ways. So CME. Look, let's watch because the sun is active, and there are some sunspots that are just festering. There's another word I want to come up with because that one sounds gross, but I couldn't. It's doing that. I feel the visitors are using clouds to aid in their cover for those not able to see them yet. Yes, Christine, I do too. I think that's why I think it's so interesting, because the other thing that I believe to be true is when this flash comes in, we're going to be aided and helped, and we will be able to see. I think, but yeah, I think. That we are being helped already, and because I do believe it is happening, we are in it at the moment, and that's why the intensity of symptoms kind of feels a lot more intense. Just watching the dogs, like they've had a really hard sensitive time. But Bud and I passed out last night, like hard. We both woke up this morning and he had like this little crease on his eye. Like I was like, honey, I don't think you moved all night last night, and he moves a lot. And but we both got up, and we were both like, slept hard last night. Like seriously, like I mean, out cold. And I sleep pretty well, but it was a different kind of sleep last night. So everything, it feels so palpable. That's like the perfect word. Brenna, I think she said that. Yes, very hard for me to be in peace these days, except when I stop and go sit in the sun. But we don't get much sun these days in Quebec. I do the light packet meditation every morning to help. Oh, that's awesome, Isabel. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. And I think that's why, like, I think this is kind of like an initiation phase for like, can we hold this peace? In the trying times that we are in the season. We're still coming out of winter, going like barely into spring, like we're like all pushing our way into spring, wanting more sun and wanting more warmth. And then just the global stuff. Like I do believe this is like an initiation. And for those of us who can hold this line of peace, even with like whatever poop you got going on in your life, can you hold that peace? Can we hold it long enough to consciously pull in the nature doing what we are asking it to do, which is to bring in that flash, right? So this is our initiation, and it's initiations aren't they're not easy. It's a practice of our skills. We've already talked about that on here, but we also know they're short-lived. They're only a short time, right? So it's kind of like the boot camp thing of, I don't know, like military training or the hell week, that last week where you're like, yeah, and I can't talk from experience from that, but I just what I've seen on movies. But for my own initiations, and in experiencing that, I can speak from experience, and they're short-lived, but they're really intense. So I think that's where we are now. Like the whole world and our environment, everything is intense. So we hold that line, and we can get 51% of our consciousness just individually. Just hold out for your 51% of your time and your energy and your awareness to be on peace. You've got your part covered. Your part of the organization is covered, and I'm doing my part. it's easy now for me. Like I'm in full on peace and I'm not like unapologetic. I don't, you all know I've gone through my work and there's going to be a lot more that I probably share. But for now, I'm like, holy crap, I've never felt peace like this. So it's easy for me to hold it. I can hold it. But I know that there are still struggles going on. So this initiation time is just like just kind of like grit and bear it a little bit. You grit and bear the peace if you can. Like that's who asked that. I don't mind working for organizations that are like, we need you to work really hard this week. We need you to be in peace. Like, what? Okay, I like that kind of organization because I work for the ones over here and they're like, we need you to work your whole entire life and like forget about kids and family and everything else. And I said, okay. Every morning when I wake up, my heart starts racing and it's terrible. I feel like, oh, I went far in my sleep, that coming back to this reality is too brutal for my soul. That could be that could be something, Isabel, because I know I've had that too, where I've journeyed and then been like, don't make me go back, don't make me go back. But at the same time, remember that we went through a pretty big cleansing and clearing of our heart space, our heart chakra energy center back in the fall. Now, um, the more we get clearer and the more we get purged, we are then like expanding our heart center. So it's clear, like a lot. You'll get to the point where it's pretty clear, but now it's got to expand, because the more you expand, the more light you can hold and the more magneticism you hold. And magneticism is what pulls those sun flares off, right? Not right. Like, you didn't know that? I didn't know that until I just read an article about how these big vortexes of solar energy start to kind of come off of the surface of the sun, and the magneticism, as it starts to kind of like dance, it then the magneticism pulls it off, and the magneticism comes from the planets, it comes from space, it comes from the sun itself. So the higher the magneticism, the more it pulls stuff towards you, right? So as your heart is expanding, you're going to feel palpitations. And just like, when anything expands, you breathe and you contract with it. So allow it when you're having those palpitations, just be with them and breathe through them, and just in your consciousness, see the heart center expanding, 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 expanding. Okay. So that your body and your mind, everything is working in unison in that multidimensional way, in allowing the heart to expand, so that the ego doesn't come in and be like, oh my God, you're having a heart attack. Like, if that's the case, you'll know it. You'll trust yourself to do something. But for now, I do know that these energies are so intense, but they're also expanding us even further than we've ever been, because we are now becoming more we're becoming creators, and creators have really large magnetic energies to pull their creations in, and they pull it in by organizing with the thoughts. Feeling so floaty and disconnected, like I'm living in 3 timelines and can't anchor into any of them. Yeah, probably the case. Probably the case, Tara, and that's again really important to ground yourself, though, to really ground yourself. But that floaty disc, that just means you're moving, lady, you're moving timelines. So just pay attention if there's anything that needs, like now, like when we move timelines, we're aware of it, so we can be like, oh, what do I need to shut down with this one? What do I need to close down on that one? So you're not leaving anything open. I heard a few years ago that the flash is actually a natural space phenomenon that will arrive July 2022. It's light from a faraway space explosion that will have travelers to us by then. Woo, nice. Then July 2022, it could be. Who knows? I don't, yeah, the whole date thing. I've seen people talking about this since the 80s, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I also think that there are wait, I mean, I've talked about waves, like there's so many different ways that waves come in, but that's a whole other conversation. I won't go there. Um, but I feel like whether it's July 2022 or it's, 4 years from now, or what we hold now makes a really big difference. And I still think and believe wholeheartedly that what we do now is going to create something we can see very soon. So whatever that is, whether it's the flash or it's the start of it or something, we are being asked to do this work, to be organized in our thoughts and feelings, and our organization along with everybody else's is going to turn us into that critical mass. Isabel, yes, that's true. And we are also now traveling through the photon belt. How did you come up with the 51%? I mean, 51% takes it's critical mass. Like you can, um, I mean, it's critical mass. Like I don't want to be like, well, duh, but just it takes you over the edge to the majority. So when the majority of out of 100%, when you get to 51%, then you tip the scale, so to speak. So that's the 51%. White cloudy skies, rain in Quebec. I miss the sun. I know. I'm so grateful when the sun comes out here. Oh, like a huge fire makes its own weather. The flares are doing the same thing. Yes, Christine, that's a perfect. I feel like that's a perfect way of saying that too. Yeah. So, yep, fires make their own weather. I like that. Lisa says super sunny here right now, yet frosty. I will continue to sun gaze. All lucky duck. Lisa says current dreams not explainable, but so many messages. We are working interdimensionally, and all is divine off and on Earth. Looking forward to the Q. Okay, good. Um, Perfect. Yes, we are doing really well, you all. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for participating and sharing. I think it's interesting. Most of us are in the clouds, both, you know, spiritually and physically at the moment. But I'm definitely in the clouds and always. I love it. So keep keep on keeping on, keeping it. I think the most important thing, the most important message, it was the same as yesterday, is keep coming back to your I am presence. Keep anchoring down into that, and connecting with the I am presence. I am present. I am the presence, and I am one with all of the I am presences of all of humanity. And as I create and as I do and as I create more and more peace in my own life, I anchor this peace down and I send it to every single person in their I am presence, which is everybody. So the more that you invoke peace, have it, say it with your voice, get it out into the ethers. Not only think it and feel it, but also express it, invoke it. And when you invoke it from that I am presence and it connects with the oneness in you, with all of humanity, you're also sending it out to all of humanity. So if anything, this experiment is just sending peace around the world, whatever is created. If you see it, great. If you don't, just know we're still doing something pretty amazing in this organization that we are working in. So thank you for being a part of it. I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to catching up with all of you tomorrow on the next Daily Tune In. I will see you then. Bye.